Hello, everyone. My name's Lance, and today I'm going to tell you a wonderful FML story which all of you should find most entertaining, and I should find most cathartic. Yay! Now, before we begin, let me get this straight. Everything bad that has happened to me is my own damn fault. I may hate it, I may even feel it is all bull and unfair, but there you go. My fault. Let's begin! A little backstory first. I am currently working as a food man at a local truck stop, frying up delicious, heart-stopping treats for the masses. And I have a dream of more. And I can't accomplish those dreams with the money I'm making now. So, of course, I've been trying to find a job that affords me that sweet, sweet monetary freedom. And man, let me tell you, I found a better place. 3 times better. Plus or minus a few times, depending on the volume of your own time, of course. And let me tell you, this place is so great that my whole family is or has worked there. Mama, Papa, Bro, another Bro, Unk, Gran, Aunt. Seriously, everyone. I'm the only one, except for a cousin or two, who has never worked there. But that was about to change. I had finally made it in. Celebrate! And to make things even better, I, my friends, have a degree, a college degree. And that got me into a higher starting position. Super celebrate! Now the setting. So I've already applied and passed the tests. I've been interviewed, and I was offered the position. All that's left is the physical and the drug test. And that is easy enough for me to pass. I'm an average person. I never do drugs. I've got it in the bag. I'm told to meet a woman at the front office at a predetermined time, and she will give me the packet of papers that I need to give to the doctors at the clinic. Simple. Now here's my story. I arrive at the front office a few minutes early, like a good little boy that I am. Don't want to fuck this up by being late to meet this lady. And as I go up to the front door, you know what? Let me pause here for a moment and paint you a picture of this front door and lobby, just so you understand the layout. You see, this front area is laid out very secure-like. Well, sort of, anyway. There is a door to the outside, which opens to a little glass cubicle thing. And from there, you have 2 other doors. One door is a revolving door with an obvious security pad on it. It's magnetically locked or physically locked, it doesn't matter. And the other is a normal door with an old electric lock. You know, one of those locks that just undoes the latch when you press a button. I have a little drawing right here. Both of these doors are locked, and the glass cubicle I'm in isn't the lobby. You can see the lobby through the glass, but there isn't a receptionist or anyone in the lobby who can see that a visitor is in that glass cubicle. Now there is a phone, an old landline phone with a list of numbers taped to the walls to call if you know the name of who you will need to call. There's also a list of other numbers that includes the security office in back. But other than that, this security checkpoint makes you feel like you're kinda not welcome. You know, with you being inside a tiny glass cubicle, looking in on a lobby that has obvious chairs for waiting, but all the doors are locked and no receptionist to open the door for you. It's like they're saying, we honestly don't care if you're waiting for us, cause no one is watching you. Now let's move on with the story. At this moment, there's no problem. I'm still early, and I was told to meet this woman here in the front. So maybe she'll show up eventually. After all, I am early. Time goes on, and the time of our meeting eventually arrives. My early arrival is wasted, and still no woman. Now I'm getting a little antsy here, as it is now time to meet the woman, and she still hasn't shown up. And because of this, I'm starting to second guess myself. Is this the place to meet her? Do I need to call her? Or did I need to go to a security office in back of the building? Or was I really supposed to meet her here? Man, I'm even asking myself the same question twice. All valid and worrying thoughts. But I calm myself down because I had a phone! Yay! I pick up the phone and start going down the list of numbers for visitors. First one didn't work. It was out of order. Second one also didn't work. Nobody answered, and the messaging system wasn't for me. And the last one was the security office, who promptly got me in contact with someone who might help. But that only led me to a voicemail of the man who was hiring me, so nothing. I left a voicemail telling him that I was waiting for the lady who hadn't shown up yet, and time was starting to tick down. Now, this interaction did help me a little bit in the end. It got me the woman's name that I had forgotten. Now I can look through that other list on the other wall and call her, which I did. But a man picked up. He did say the woman's name, but it was still a man who picked up. So I immediately thought I had the wrong number, because I knew I had to meet a woman. So I told him as much. Sorry, wrong number, and hung up. Now I'm starting to get really desperate. So I'm starting to get real antsy now, because it's about 10 minutes after the time we were supposed to be meeting, give or take. I really need to talk to a person, in person, who might know what's what. So I study the door with that old electronic lock, and it is exactly the same type of lock that was at one of my other jobs. And this other job, you only had a set number of keys floating around the workplace at any one time. If you didn't have a key, you needed somebody to press the button to let you outside to help a customer. So you quickly figured out how to trip the latch so that you can open the door with or without a key. And this was the exact same lock that did that. I knew exactly how to open this door. So I whip out my set of keys and expertly trip the latch to open the door. Now I'm in the lobby. But lo and behold, there is a second door. This one is an actual security door. No way I'm ever going to get into this one. But there's still hope, because it leads to a hallway with a bunch of offices flanking each side. As I look at the lock, because I'm still proud of myself for getting that latch open, haha, arrogant little me, I notice that there is a couple of people in the hallway, and I promptly knock to ask a gentleman whether or not he knows the person I'm supposed to be meeting. He comes up to me, fear in his eyes for some reason, and tells me that I need to go back to the security office around the back of the building. Now that I've gotten some orders from an actual person, regardless of how afraid he looks, I'm off. I have to drive there, it's so far, by the way. Now, before we move on, let's just go over the situation right now. Let me explain the current scene. It is now 10 to 15 minutes past when I was supposed to meet this lady. I have talked to several people asking where she is and if I'm in the right place, with no one having a definitive answer. And the person who potentially does have the answers for me isn't picking up his phone. That's the scene. Let's continue. Now I'm in my car, driving all the way around the building to the security office in the back. I find a visitor spot in the employee parking lot and walk up to the security office. When I get in there, the lady behind the counter remembers me from the phone call and tells me that she just figured out what's going on and that the lady will meet me back at front. Finally, some definitive answers, even if a little late. I get back in my car again and start to the front. Only this time, I had the misfortune of being stuck behind a truck, so I was much slower in getting back. As I get back to the front of the building, I expect to be greeted by the lady in the lobby waiting for me as I walk up. Nope, she's still not there. So I figured I'll wait for her in the lobby. After all, that's what the lobby is meant for. Once again, I trip the latch and enter the lobby. This is apparently what I did wrong. The first time was not wrong. Nobody would care about the first time because I only spoke to somebody who didn't know what I was, and I went back to the security office. Nobody really, honestly would have cared. Tripping the lock this second time is what doomed me. Because this time, I'm going to meet a person who knows exactly who I am, and is likely going to tell people that I picked that lock. That, right there, is the FML moment. But let's continue with the story, because no story ends with the FML moment. You never really realize it until it's long gone. So I waited in that lobby for a minute or so, and at this point it is close to 20 minutes after the meeting time. I didn't sit down, and I didn't touch anything in that lobby. But again, I was still really happy with myself for tripping that latch again, so I decided to check the interlock again, see if there might be a tiny chance that I might be able to trip that one. I didn't get too far, as the lady finally showed up, opening the door in my face. And after that, everything else went swimmingly, apart from her having the same look of worry and fear that the other guy did. I didn't notice it at the time. But she immediately asked me how I got in the door. I told her that the lock on the door was really old and shit, and needs to be replaced because anybody who knows how that lock works can get in. She agreed and said she'd tell safety. She gave me my packet, I filled out the papers she needed, and I took it and went on my merry way. No problems, right? Wrong! 3 days later, I get a call from the guy who's hiring me, and all of a sudden, I can't be hired anymore because I got through that shit door. Now, this surprised me so much that I was in shock, and I just accepted it at face value. I didn't even think to fight it until he already hung up. And to add more bull onto this shit story, I realized later that this gentleman called me at the very end of his shift just before his weekend starts. So there's no way I could call him back to talk to him about this and understand it better. Not until Monday. Fuck my life. Now, I've been thinking about this for a while, and I think I understand exactly what happened. What may have happened, now I can't prove this because I haven't talked to anybody, but it's my theory, and it seems to fit nicely. It seems to make a little bit of sense. But it is all that nice lady. She likely started telling everyone, her superiors, that I up and picked that lock for that door. Not really that the lock is shit and really easy to get past, but that I picked the lock, as in pulled out a lock-picking kit that I just so happened to have, and undo the lock. She didn't understand how that lock works, and how easy it is to trip the latch. I never even touched the lock itself. And that is what doomed me. Her testimony. Now, she is totally in the right to assume that. I mean, she didn't know anything about the lock, and I just appeared inside of a potentially secure room. I probably would have thought the same thing if I didn't know about that lock. Now, it's totally my fuck-up to go ahead and try and get through a locked door into a business that I'm trying to get hired into, and I will never do it again. I've learned my lesson. But you also have to agree that I have not been treated fairly in this situation. I mean, come on. No one tries to talk to me about this. No one wants to discuss this situation with me, or check the security tapes to see that I got there early and that I was starting to worry because the lady forgot about me and didn't show up on time. No. They just immediately said, "Oh, he did this thing? Give him a phone call and say, no, you can't be hired. We don't care about his story." And that, my friends, is the bullshit FML story. Well, that's it. Thank you for listening. Go ahead and tell me what you think in the comments down below. And if you like the video, leave a like or subscribe. I might be making more of these. I'll hopefully get all this shit sorted out. Maybe. Peace!